Hey crew, I've got the key to this 2024 GMC Hummer EV SUV 3X, and today we're going to see what it's like to live with. I'll start by unplugging it from its level 2 charger, where we're sitting here overnight, and it does take between 8 to 10 hours of level 2 charging to fully replenish the 170 kilowatt hour battery pack, but I mean, you just plug it in, and in the morning, you're good to go. Now let's take a peek at spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19.5 feet long, and it has never looked smaller than when it's got the Hummer EV parked in it. This vehicle is 7.25 feet wide. So I've got the tire parked right there at the edge. It's sitting next to a new Lincoln Nautilus that my wife is reviewing. If you want to check out her content, it's Mobile Mama on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. She's got the right tires maybe 4 inches from the edge of the driveway. So we're effectively using the majority of the space here, and there still isn't much room to walk between the vehicles, certainly not enough room to wheel a double stroller through for our kiddos. The nose of the Hummer EV is hanging off a little bit into the gutter at the front of my driveway. That does leave enough space between the back of the Hummer EV's tire carry and the garage door, but to get along the path to my front door, I've got to slink sideways here. When first hopping inside with the key fob in my pocket, I press on this button here and that will unlock the doors. This is going to be the first defined notch of door opening, and that is pretty far out there. Thankfully, there is enough space before touching the Nautilus, but I can't move the door open any further. Still, I can use the side step and the grab handle to have an easy entry point to the cabin. Closing up that door. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this day in life in the Hummer EV SUV. Check out these graphics. Very, very cool. Very moon landing-esque. There's a theme to this cabin for that. And that theme does continue throughout the cabin in various places. Now, in this video, I want to see if living with what is arguably the most bodacious electric vehicle you can buy is a ton of fun, or if it's a lot of headache. I'll begin by starting it up, but first you can see there's 100% of the battery's charge available to us, giving us a current range estimate of 336 miles. Charging it to 100% is not something you want to do all the time. I just wanted to make sure I had that for this video to see what we're working with. Hitting the start stop button greets us with all the displays coming on, including the digital rear view mirror and a little light show from the Super Cruise display. Now I want to show you where I've stashed the items I bring with me for these videos, all of which, apart from my phone, which is here in my pocket and could go in the wireless smartphone charging pad there, are in the console, because it's massive. I've got my large water bottle, extra large water bottle actually, the Racebox 0 to 60 timer, and my GoPro accessories. There is a tray insert that can go in there, but I stuck that in the open storage underneath the console. The door pockets are huge. Needless to say, any small items you need to find a spot for in this cabin, you will. But what about the big items? I want to go surfing now, so let's see if my 9-foot surfboard will fit in the back of the Hummer EV SUV. So here we go. Got my board all ready. Now to open the tailgate of the Hummer, I hit this button, and it's going to swing open automatically until it gently makes contact with the hedge, and it's going to stop there. Therefore, this is not the full opening room of the tailgate, but look at all this space. This is going to be plenty to load in the board. I do need to fold the seats down. I'm going to hit these buttons, and promptly those will fold flat. So now let's load it up. Sliding the board on through. I've got a towel to protect the seat material. Am I going to be able to stop before that screen? I think so, because we're clear here, and I'm not worried about this. This is a rubberized surface with that topographical design. Now to close up this tailgate, I'll hit the button once more. And with the soft close, we are good. Okay. Well, given how close the nose of this board is to this screen, maybe just a couple inches away, that at least with this loading method, this is as big of a board as you can plan to bring with you. If you did put something on top of the screen, then laid the board on top of that, you'd have another foot or so before the windshield. But that all retains the position of the front passenger seat, so you could bring someone along. If you didn't need that, you could recline that seat and then put the boards on top of that for more room. It's finally time to head out, so I'm going to choose my drive mode here and welcome some pretty cool animations on the screen. We've got off-road modes, terrain, towing with a space shuttle behind me. I'm going to begin in normal. That sounds about right. And then pulling back on the gear selector into drive, I can release the parking brake here and roll on forward. And I'm not too worried about clearance here in the Hummer. But just in case, I've got the curb ramps there to swallow up the gap of the gutter in my driveway. The very first thing I have to comment on in driving this Hummer EV is what the width feels like in normal lanes. It just feels like I'm touching both sides of the lane at all times, and that's reinforced by the fact that if you have the lane keep assist system going, it's constantly trying to correct the wheel to make sure you stay within those lane markings. So that just takes a little while to get used to. Either you turn that off and you don't have the invasion, but you also have to pay complete attention at all times, as you should, or you leave that on and it's constantly just jiggering the wheel and vibrating it to make sure that you know that you might be brushing up against those lane markings. Further complicating your efforts to stay in the lane is the fact that there is play to the steering just off center before you feel the resistance of those 35-inch tires. So you have to really trust your eyes, not the sense of feel that you get through the steering wheel as to whether you're in the lane or not. But here's some great news. The turning radius of the Hummer EV SUV is astounding. It is better than most subcompact cars. So maneuvering this massive SUV around people who have decided to take over both lanes is incredibly easy. Then there's the fact that the Hummer EV SUV 3X makes 830 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. That's all, of course, delivered instantly since it's all electric, and so it moves this nearly 10,000 pound vehicle effortlessly. And it doesn't do so with any overzealousness. You just pick up the speed as gracefully and immediately as you need to. But then of course you will need to slow the Hummer EV down, and it is heavy, and so the brakes are working hard. You can help them by using the one pedal regen braking, or just pulling on this paddle that's alongside the steering wheel that is not a full one pedal experience like that system is, but then when helped with the braking, makes it real simple to slow you down. And I find myself almost preferring using the paddle to the one pedal system, because even when it's just in the on level, not even the high level, it's a very forceful slowing that happens. It really sloshes you forward, and you feel the air suspension tilting forward and backward when you do so. So it's just better for me personally not to have this system doing the one pedal drive, at least around town at low speeds, but instead to just use the finger paddle. When it comes to navigating traffic on the highway, you have that immediate and robust passing power to help you out. You're strategizing for lane changes. It's kind of just like, I want to be over there. Okay, you put your foot down and you get there. When traffic rears its ugly head, you'll be very grateful that the Hummer EV has the Super Cruise system, at least initially. Then you're gonna have to pay for a subscription, but it's a very cool system. You see the steering wheel there saying, hey, you can use it. You turn that on, the green light bar goes. That means you can take your hands off the wheel, and it's just gonna work the throttle and braking, slowing, keeping that following distance, and maintaining the center of the lane. It's not one where you have to keep checking in with your hands on the wheel, at least unless the bar goes blue or red, then you need the intervention. And it will do those things, at least the red one, if you are distracted for too long. If you're looking at the screen or your snack or whatever you're doing, it's gonna flash at you and say, hey, you gotta chime back in. But this system works really well, and man, does it reduce fatigue. If you're gonna commute in the Hummer EV, and two things. One, if you're like, I really don't have to focus on staying in the center of these lanes because the vehicle's so wide, or two, you're just like, I need to mellow out a little bit on my way to the office. Super Cruise, it's clutch. The system's smart too, because in most circumstances, if you're traveling at a speed in your lane slower than the speed at which you've set, it is going to try to find a way to make a pass on the left, proper on the left, not going to try to do that on the right. If it doesn't though, then you can help it out, indicate that direction, and if it's open, it will make the change. And now that the pace is picked up, I'm going to quiet up for a moment here so we can listen to the cabin volume at these speeds. Yeah, there's a lot of wind noise. To be expected, this is a big, blocky SUV hurtling through the air, but there's a lot of it. It's right up here at the top of the windshield that you hear all that wind noise. The all-terrain tires aren't making too much noise though. They're massive, and yet you only hear a light hum, even on this road surface, which typically generates a lot of tire and road noise. But maybe it's all just blotted out by all of the wind noise that we're getting here. It's one step below awful. It's bad, but it's not terrible. I could live with this at these speeds in my commute. The only foreseeable problem is if you weren't by yourself, you had people with you and you were trying to have a conversation with them, you would be, at least in the second row, shouting, "Hey Bill, what do you think of the Hummer?" It's a good time to mention that if you are going to be in the saddle of the Hummer EV for a while, like in a long morning commute, that you will be comfortable, because these seats are stellar. Tons of adjustability to them. I can lower the seat down a lot and still have loads of headroom for myself. Tons of tilt and telescope adjustment to the wheel as well. And just not sloshing space, but room to breathe in the seat with great padding. And now that I've made it to my destination, it's time to go surfing. If I can find a parking spot. I found one, and I'm still huge. So let's see about the camera system that is going to be very necessary to make sure that I fit between the lanes as well as possible and correctly. There we go. Let's surf. Though there isn't a tailgate for me to sit on as I put on my wetsuit, there is this big bumper here that's at the perfect height for me at 6 feet tall, and I could raise or lower that with the air suspension system. Those adjustments just aren't back here like they are in some vehicles. Oh, now that the always tedious process of putting on the wetsuit is complete, I'm gonna pull out the board here, making sure I'm clear of traffic, and I am gonna have to go high with it to make it between the cars. That just leaves the lingering detail of this key fob, which is not easily going to fit inside my suit. So instead, I'm going to put it inside this lockbox and latch that to the exposed hitch. So I'll just close up the tailgate. Pop the key fob inside, scramble the combo, and get to the good stuff. Oh man, that was everything I could have hoped for. I haven't gone surfing in months, but it wasn't crowded. It wasn't yet blackballed. There were some good waves to get out there if you're patient, and I didn't suck. And before I leave the coast, I want to enjoy one of this truck's party pieces, which is to remove these 4 roof panels, stow them in the frunk, and drive around topless. I couldn't do this conversion in the parking lot I was in before, so I did have to move because I need space around me to not only access the frunk, but to also lay out each of the roof panels in each of these 4 bags. There we go. Now that I've got the 4 bags laid out on this public sidewalk, I can get to work on removing the roof panels. That is pretty simple, thankfully. I just pull on these bars, one there and one here, lift up, go from the center, and remove. They don't weigh all that much, and they store neatly inside the bags. And making the removal job a little bit easier on this truck is the fact that there is this big metal side step, so I can get the leverage I need to remove the panels. Now, after zipping up all the bags, I can start stacking them in the frunk. And if you're anything like me, then you're worried about the order with which you took them off and would therefore have to reinstall them. Don't be. GMC has already thought of that. There's a map on each of the panels telling you exactly where it goes. Once all the panels are loaded in the proper orientation of the outside edge facing the cabin, then you can use these straps and carabiners to hold them in place. The process is definitely more labor intensive and requires more room than a typical convertible, but at least GMC gives you a place to store the panels that doesn't impede on your rear cargo space. Now, let's go enjoy some open-top electric motoring. Another one of the GMC Hummer EV's party tricks is the crab walk feature, and it's been requested by these gentlemen up here, so I'm gonna do it right now. It's only really safe at low speeds. And to be clear, crab walk is not really supposed to be used on the road. I was just having fun with those guys. It's supposed to be used off-road to dodge around certain obstacles by having the rear wheels move in the same direction as the front, so you kind of drive diagonally. On the road, you want the rear wheels moving in the opposite direction of the front to make this big thing super maneuverable, like I showed you earlier. This really was worth the work to remove the panels. I don't know if it's worth the extra work to take off the 2 eye bars for a more complete open top experience, because you got to get out tools that they give you and remove them and then store them underneath the rear seats. That just seems like too much. This is enough of cloudy, sunny enjoyment. And you are made aware, especially with the top off, when you're driving around, even in a high income area like this where there are very special cars constantly being driven around, how unique of a vehicle this Hummer EV SUV is, because people just look, they gawk And I get it. It's a very interesting looking shape moving down the roadway silently. It doesn't stay silent as the speeds pick up, unfortunately. There's a lot of turbulent moving air in here. The Hummer EV seems prone to wind buffeting, whether that's with the roof panels in place or like now with them removed. But I will say one thing, even as a massive internal combustion fan, I'm gonna make this. That's another point I'm about to make. It is nice that the wind noise is the only other noise I'm hearing right now. There's not a big churning diesel or gas motor making a drone or a rumble or anything. I can kind of just relax and glide efficiently and absorb the scenery. This is pretty good. No, this is really good. It's kind of surreal if you think about it, to be commanding this much power in a vehicle this size and this weight as majestically as I'm able to. It's a very California experience right now. Now, to maintain the fresh coastal theme and to satisfy the hunger I built up while surfing, I'm gonna grab some fish tacos from Bear Flag Fish Co. You really do dread parking this thing every time you have to do it though. It's not that the rear wheel steering doesn't make it easy to maneuver, it's just hard to get around those dimensions. When other people don't park perfectly, and when you've got a surfboard in the way, it makes it extra challenging. I think we did okay though. That's about as good as I can do. I'm pretty much touching tires on both sides, but what can you do? The truck's huge. I can think of worse ways to spend an afternoon. Yesterday, I showed you how quick the Hummer EV is in the mid-range, but we haven't shown the performance from a dig. Now, to get the most out of this truck, I do need to come to a full stop for a moment here so I can hit traction control twice, which puts us into the watts to freedom mode. I'll confirm that here. That's gonna lower the vehicle down and get us ready for the launch. Now, as I prepare for the launch to 60, I've got my race box to record the run. I am sitting here and the seat is pulsing and there's some ambient noise coming out from the speaker system. It asks me to floor it and I will. Here goes. Ready, releasing. Tire spin. Oh, good Lord. 0 to 60 in 3.56 seconds. That's quick for a car. That's really quick for a small house. That was a mildly terrifying experience for a few reasons. One, even with the vehicle lowered in the watts to freedom mode, you're still so high off the ground to be accelerating like that. Two, when you're hearing those all-terrains squeal in discomfort to the degree that they are, puts you on edge a little bit. And then three, all the play that I had to the steering meant I was just really holding on, just kind of praying that I was gonna go straight there. But the sound experience and the actual G-force do make it pretty entertaining. Back at a more modest pace, I haven't really talked about the Hummer EV SUV's ride quality around town. The adaptive air suspension is very good at filtering out most of the road blemishes and the undulations that you encounter. There are some situations though where there's a really big blemish, like a pothole, and the suspension does crash. The impact that you feel in the seat, not horrible, but you hear it and it makes you feel like the vehicle's kind of coming apart. And there are other times when, you know, the wind noise isn't so pervasive that you hear some rattles and squeaks from the vehicle. I'm not sure if it's the chassis or some trim components or maybe a combination of both, but that makes you wonder about the longevity of all the pieces of the Hummer EV SUV. I'm pretty taken with the livability of this truck. When you've adapted to the dimensions, it's a pretty comfortable, casual, and entertaining way to get from A to B. But I know someone who's gonna have some strong opinions, and I at least wanna hear them. So let's go get Mobile Mama and go for some coffee.
Blinded by the light.
Oh, you don't like the top off?
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's
but
great.
I should have put a little more SPF on.
You're gonna get cooked
Yeah.
in the Hummer. I feel like you have to say that once. Like, we're driving the Hummer. Although it It's weird saying it like that because
there's no noise.
It's silent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still that visual, right?
Yeah, it's beefy on the road.
Do you like that?
I love it.
Does the excitement continue on the interior?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun interior. I wouldn't say like it feels
Fun. That sounds like the ultimate condescension.
No,
Like,
it just
oh,
doesn't
you're
feel
fun. You're
high
just
end
fun.
at
Yeah.
all. I mean, there's a lot of rubbers and plastics and stuff.
Yeah,
but
the seats aren't leather. Like
No.
they're a leather-like. They're not even like leather. They're trying to be something different. Yeah.
But I feel like it's good for a mom. It's easy to clean. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Like if the kids got stuff on it, I'm like, oh, that'll wipe off.
Yeah, it probably will. And I mean, it's got design to it. Like everything,
Yeah.
they spent a little time making sure that things felt right and looked interesting.
Tactile experience.
Yes, it's a tactile experience.
There you go.
I feel like you're acres away.
I like the lake. I like
I
that
can't even
you're
fully arm
I
extended.
like that you're
I
acres
can't even
away.
touch your face.
I like my space.
That's my determinant. You are so far away. I can't. Oh, that feels great. Actually, my shoulder hurts. That's a nice stretch
Oh, there
right
you
there.
go.
Oh, McLaren 720S.
Where?
Really nice. In orange over there. I like
Wow.
it.
I like. What is this map of?
It's a topographical map of
Well, I know
parts
that.
of the
Of
moon. I really think it's like part of the moon. They're like going for that moon
yeah.
theme.
We've
Remember?
done this
It's like the
before.
moon
Does
boots.
It have the moon feet? Oh yes.
The moon feet. Yeah, it's got the moon feet. The moon boots.
Moon
That's
feet.
kind of fun, right? Like I think the
Yeah.
kids would really love that. And beyond the style of the interior, I like that it's functional. Like everything is easy to use. They're physical controls for things you want. The touchscreen's not hard to navigate. It's really responsive. It's also got like wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's good. I mean, I like using this cabin. Digital rearview mirror, that's also great for visibility. Because
Very
when all the
necessary.
panels are up, like, yeah, you got big blind spots there and
I was
there.
gonna say it seems like visibility may not be amazing.
It's not great. I mean, this pillar's not that big, which I appreciate. But yeah, it's a very flat hood, so there's not a lot of depression to it, so I can't really see where the nose of the vehicle ends. So you gotta use the parking sensors and the cameras and just give yourself that extra margin. Ooh, Julia, quad in the right color. Look at that green.
I like that green.
We're just seeing some good cars on our way to coffee. You ready?
Coffee!
Let's get coffee. And in keeping with the lunar theme of this vehicle, I figured let's go to Moon Goat Coffee Roasters.
Coffee.
Oh gosh. Can goats still baa on the moon?
They
That's
don't
the
bob.
question.
That's a sheep.
Can goats still maa on the moon? Oh, the coffee is good, but what is that? I'm so glad that was on camera. It's just a June bug. I would be more concerned if it was like something that was gonna...
I'm over this. That's it. And I'll meet you in the car.
Anyway, so the focaccia sandwich is really good and it attracts June bugs. So have you recovered
Yes.
from
I
your
had to talk to my therapist about the encounter. Just kidding.
attack of the bugs? Yeah, they really were interested in you. I
You
didn't.
did
You
nothing.
did. You feared for your life.
We
I did
watched
nothing.
the footage and you sat there.
I sat
and
there because I
laughed.
thought you were going to be okay, and you were. Let's hop into the back seats and
Hop
just
in.
see what we got going on back here. Well, for one, space.
Lots of leg room.
Lots of space. So this is beyond my own seat at 6 feet. Lots of knee room.
Yeah.
You're obviously fine. And here's the big one for me. There's so
This
much
is-
room again
yes.
between the two of us.
Well, this could fit 3 car seats, which is
Yes, 3 car seats or a person in between 2 car
Yep.
seats. That's great.
Comfortably. Yep.
Then you got armrest for if you don't have a person or car seat there, USB ports, climate control, heated seats.
good. Nice.
That's nice. Oh, and an AC outlet down here. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Also, like all the rubberized floor mats, like you said, I think you said earlier, like
Yeah.
probably easy to clean.
Yeah, because didn't a bird crap on the front seat?
It took a poo-poo on side of the seat with the panels off. That is one downside to not having the panels. And I mean, okay, let's just say if I wanted to sit here in the
Oh,
middle.
this is not bad.
Now, the problem with this though is that the console or the
It's a little
console area
far
it's on the
back.
floor. So I can't, no foot room.
But we're comfortable.
We're comfortable. This is good. Let's see about the car seat setup. So what do we got?
Your standard 2 sets of lower latch anchors, 3 tethers.
2 sets of
Oh, and they're very visible.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
And the doors open pretty wide, so it should be easy to get these in. Let's find out.
Let's see if you don't hit it. Oh,
Cleared it. No problems.
oh, there goes.
That's a problem. Cup holders on the
I like the steps,
car
so you
seats.
can easily
Oh yeah, that thing has been really handy.
Get
It was
in
great for
there.
removing the panels, but also good for installing car sheets.
And for the kids to get up. Well, that was easy.
That was easy, like I thought. I was able to go through the back, pull down the tether, and get that all cinched up, and getting it in was no problem.
Yep, there's plenty of room here.
That's true.
Didn't have to move seats. We're all
So
good.
we know that when we sit in our seats, we're gonna be just fine.
Be good.
Can we say it? Hummer EV SUV is family approved. We're getting so much better at that. Nice. That wasn't as good.
No.
Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered whether life with the Hummer EV SUV would be pure fun or too much of a headache. And after spending some quality time behind the wheel, I can tell you this is a stupendously good time with few exceptions. Instant and robust power combined with playful styling, animations, tricks, and noises to keep you entertained. Meanwhile, a compliant ride, comfy seats, and incredible maneuverability keep you relaxed, except when it comes to wind noise. Whether the top is on or off, cabin noise is very high, and the Hummer EV is very wide, making parking a bit of a tense experience. All told, this truck is overwhelmingly pleasant to live with, and if going electric is in the cards for you, don't question it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.